Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We have so many ways that we can help our children learn the things they need to learn in the course of their lifetimes when they're young. And they don't stay young for long, do they, Robin?
No, they don't.
Seems like, but now being grandparents, we're doing it all over again.
Yeah, that's the
not
fun
quite,
part.
not quite as close as close. All right, Marc S. Jaffe, I hope I'm saying his name right, is on the phone. He's the CEO of Children's Learning Centers of Fairfield County, which is Stamford, Connecticut, according to my notes. He's got a series of books. One is called Play to Learn Seasons. I think that's the one I have on the cover. Oh yeah, it is on the streaming video we're doing right now. And it's also the one he sent us. Okay, a new book to help parents learn how to play with their kids. And as you pointed out to me, Robin, it's in English and in Spanish. Marc Jaffe, good morning, Marc. It's an honor to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And where are you? Are you in Connecticut?
I'm in Stamford, Connecticut. It's a little chillier than I'm sure where you are.
Well, we are in Florida now, and there are airplanes. If you want to come down, you're welcome. Robin's got an extra bed in her spare room.
I do. A lot of plans.
That's the best invitation I've had all day.
Oh, that's nice. To be honest with you, though, we want to see some cold temperatures before we die. So this is cool. I mean, you have it in English and Spanish. I must tell you that our listening audience is bilingual. The ones who don't speak any English at all probably aren't listening, but many of them who are bilingual speak predominantly Spanish, and you know what I mean. They've learned English so they can get around. But yeah, so they have people in their family who don't speak English. Usually they're the older folks who just didn't want to learn or whatever. But the book is an awesome idea, and so thank you for sharing it with us. Is this part of a series?
So let me give you a little bit on the background of this. We run a very large program in early childhood education for children ages 6 weeks to 5 years old. And what we found is, and 70% of our families are immigrant, many 60% speak Spanish. And what we found were that our parents and grandparents, by the way, are very well-intentioned. They're very supportive of their children's learning, but they don't necessarily know what's age-appropriate. And so what we also have found, and you probably have talked about this issue, is the dominance of screens in all of our lives,
right, especially
in our children's lives. And recent reports have shown, and it's frankly a little frightening, that screens negatively impact a child's brain development. So you probably know that 90% of a human, of our brains, are formed by the time we're 5 years old. About 80% by the time a child is 3 years old. And when you put a child in front of a screen, it inhibits effective brain development, and it affects literacy, it affects language, it affects social and emotional development. In fact, we will tell you, for the first 18 months of a child's life, don't put them in front of a screen. And if you do, then be there with them and talk to them, engage with them. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to provide a tool for our parents and grandparents to engage with their children or grandchildren. And so Play to Learn is a series of activities. In this case, it's called Seasons, so they vary by the season. You folks will probably focus on summer, but a lot of the rest of us, we actually have a fall and a winter. And so, and so the notion is simple things around the house that you can use to have activities that are creative, that create connection between a parent and the child. And as you said, we did them in English and Spanish, and they're a lot of fun, and they really help with creative development, with gross motor skills, and even social and emotional development.
The center of the book has a statement I want to read. It says, "We're proud to support." This is actually from one of your sponsors, Synchrony, but it says, "We're proud to support CLC," and that's your group. What does it stand for again? Children's Learning
Centers of Fairfield County. So we're in Connecticut.
And here's the point I wanted to focus on. As they bridge the gap between school and home, promoting educational success for all. So Robin and I both have said many times that a child who is homeschooled is everybody, they should be. Because even if you go to public school or private school, there's still that home education that you're getting from your parents. Well, let's hope so, right?
Well, so look, at the end of the day, our first and best teacher are our parents, and so we can't substitute for that.
Right.
And what I would tell all parents, and by the way, even some of our parents who aren't literate, they're not literate in English, they may not even be literate in their primary language, which is often Spanish, they can still be a great teacher. And the thing that we recommend the most, number one, is read to your children. Sit them down with you in front of a picture book and read to them every night. You can't do it enough. But for those parents who can't read, they can pretend. They can make up a story. So we're all about
I love that.
We're all about the gap, which between a sort of well-off family and less well-off families. And believe it or not, that achievement gap is actually 30 million words by the time a child is 5 years old.
Isn't that amazing?
And so the way you can address that is you talk to your children. You get off your device, your screen, and you engage. Talk to your children. Tell them stories, and it's incredibly effective and the most beneficial thing we can do with our children and grandchildren.
In our community, we have English classes that are offered at some of the local churches, and a few of those teachers are encouraging the children that are in the upper grades to read to their parents and sit with them, so the parents will learn the English, and then they come back to the class the next week and they're that much further ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful and effective. And by the way, it promotes other kinds of really important skills, such as empathy. So one of the things that we're about is building what we call a deep reading brain, and the deep reading brain starts with a child and an adult reading a story together. And by doing that, it allows children to start connecting to characters. And that becomes a vehicle for actually creating empathy.
But your book, isn't just a textbook. It also serves as an appreciation for the arts and for music. You have a lot of different activities on that realm.
You're absolutely correct. It's all about it's all about art. It promotes creativity and imagination, and that too sort of stimulates particular parts of the brain.
I like the rainbow part because you at the very end, if the writer writes, now don't stop with just teaching your child the colors of the rainbow and how to paint a rainbow. Have them add flowers, trees, some kind of scene. You let them use their creativity.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. I actually, it's funny. We often somehow these days hear children, say, "Oh, I'm bored," and sometimes it can drive us off a cliff.
Yeah,
but
right.
but I try to turn that around, and because those moments of, quote, boredom are times when children actually need opportunities to let their minds wander, and which fosters creativity and imaginations. And in fact, one of the things that screens interrupt, the constant stimulation from screens interferes with that. So when I hear a child go, "I'm bored," I see that as an opportunity for them to be creative, to start questioning them and engaging them and letting their minds wander.
I love what you're saying there. Here's what I love, because I'm a new grandpa, by the way, and Robin.
Congratulations!
And coincidentally, although not the same child, Robin is also a new grandma.
Yep, 10 months old.
And so all of a sudden, little crafty things and ideas on how to use crayons and how to use kernels of corn and how to, all the crafty things you have in the book.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Did you lose us? What happened?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Oh, no.
Yeah, you just cut out for a second.
Okay.
You're
Sorry.
back.
All right, good. I'm glad we're back. Okay. So all those little things that I might not have considered doing a year ago, now that there's a little baby in my world, I can't wait to be making turkeys out of my handprint.
Well, it is interesting. When we first conceptualized this series, we had some friends who were grandparents, and they said, we're a little rusty. We forgot what we used to do.
Right.
So, it's really great for grandparents, and you're right. Those kinds of activities. And by the way, something else we're seeing again. It's a little troubling. If a child spends too much time with iPads and cell phones, they actually are. Some aren't developing their gross motor skills and their fine motor skills, and we're finding that there are children who enter in kindergarten who can't hold a pencil properly.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! So just getting that kind of stuff you don't even think about, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. So, if you're coloring with your grandchild, that's terrific. It's very helpful to them.
So I'm letting myself hear and absorb what you're saying about the screen time, because here's what I could see myself easily doing, thinking it was the right thing, and it turns out it could be damaging to give a gift like a Kindle or something like that. Maybe it's better to wait until they're like 30 or 40 years old.
There you go. I got my first one when I was 58. What can I say?
Well, we recommend that, from sort of 2 to 5, no more than an hour, and if possible, that it also have adult interaction, adult engagement with it, so that they're not left to their own devices. Science is fascinating, and we're doing lots of research around the development of a child's brain. We're taking MRIs of their brain. And if you put a child in front of a book and read to them, you will see a level of brain activity in multiple parts of the brain. If you put a screen in front of them, most of it drops off, and that part that's responsible for imagination actually falls off a cliff.
Have you had the opportunity to actually sit with a child with the book?
Yes, we have, in fact, and I gladly send you some video. We brought in a whole bunch of parents to spend time with their children doing different exercises, and it was just delightful. And the parents were excited, the kids were excited. Yeah, it's a pleasure to behold, and we have them. All of our classrooms use these books.
And another thing you're doing is bringing awareness to how many children come from low-income homes and how they need to be sat with and intermingled with students that have a better home life where their parents spend more time with them.
Sure, we're firm believers. We're firm believers in that, but I will also tell you, and it is remarkable that the biggest difference that you could make in a child's life, regardless of economic, background, is reading to them, and is having a rich environment with books, and we can't stress that enough. Now, and by the way, and I should admit, full disclaimer, before coming to run a large early childhood education program, I was not an educator. I actually ran book publishing companies, and one of them was a large health publisher. So this combines my interest both in health and education, and makes me sort of an evangelist for doing this kind of important work.
All right, I don't ever have a suggestion for how to use a book, but I have one for yours. Are you ready?
Oh, please.
Okay, here's this.
We're all ears.
All right, this is for Grandma, because Grandma carries a bag, like a shot.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's right.
If you put this book in your bag, and then you go over to the kid's house and you start playing with your grandson. Don't do every one of these things. Just open it up to one, like the one where you have frozen dinosaurs in ice. Okay, just that one. Now, you say, this is what we're going to do. You open up the book to that page, and your granddaughter's going to say, "Oh my gosh, this is so fun, Grandma. What are we going to do?"
Yeah.
And then you're going to freeze the animals. Oh no! Right? And then you're going to go outside, take a walk, however long it takes to freeze these things, and then you're going to come back and do the rest of the assignment. Don't do another one. Wait until the next time you visit, because every time you visit, they can say, "Grandma, did you bring the Play to Learn book with you?"
Yeah, a good idea.
Right?
I love that.
Oh my!
That is great, and I think, by the way, you have a future in early childhood education.
There you go. He's a grandpa.
I hope so.
That's it.
I hope so. Well, that sounds like fun, yeah. And there's so many things. And one of the reasons why I kind of told it that way is because I want the listeners to know what's in this book. This is not your normal book. There are so many
fabulous
ideas. And real quickly, just to repeat what we said in the beginning, if you have Spanish-speaking family members, this is a great book for them, too, because the second half is the first part all redone, but in Spanish.
That's right.
That's right.
So that's,
yeah.
Are you bilingual?
Yeah, no, that's right. And by the way, for your listeners, if they're interested in getting the book, we will be introducing it into retail. But in the meantime, they can purchase it at our website, clcplaytolearn.com. So, a little bit of promotion here, but
no, that's what you're here for. We want to promote. I want people to get it.
Yeah, this
to me,
is a wonderful book.
Hey, the audience knows that Robin and I don't BS them. Mm-hmm. That's good. That is my childhood development part for you.
And it's a soft cover, and it's like 8.5 by 11, and it's very, very fun. And I like that you also, with all the activities, you leave room at the end for the parent or the grandparent to interject their piece of creativity with the children also. It's not just cut and dried.
Well, especially if you have different cultures, and they can bring their own stories, so to speak, their own activities, their own sort of cultural activities, to their child, and it personalizes it in a special way.
One of the assignments in here, or one of the projects, I should say, is beans in a bag.
Beans in
a bag. You plant the bean in a baggie with water and a wet paper towel. I mean, and it grows.
You did that with your apple tree seed.
I was going to share that story.
Okay.
They do indeed.
Let me tell you something, Mark. I bit into an apple 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the seeds in the apple was sprouting a little bit. Tiny little foot coming out of it. And I said, "Ooh, I'm going to do that thing we did in kindergarten." And I put it in a coffee cup with a wet paper towel. Long story short, that apple tree is now 5 feet tall.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Hello.
Sometimes I go into my refrigerator, unfortunately. I find that too, but that's something else.
That's funny. That's called mold.
Yeah.
All right.
We probably should do a whole vegetable garden that way, right? You can do onions and garlic and all kinds of eggplant, avocado pits.
Well, the
right?
fun one is the sunflower because it grows so big so quick.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
That's a fun one. Oh my gosh. Are you Grandpa Mark? Let me look at your pictures.
Yeah, I am sort of. That's true. Yeah.
What sort of? What does that mean?
It's a wonderful thing.
All right, Mark sent us a copy of the book, so everybody can order the book at CL. What is it again? The website? CLCPlay2Learn.com. Okay, and I have a copy. So if I have somebody who wants the copy that was sent to us, it's in Spanish in the back, English in the front, right? And lots of projects for you with the kids. You're going to have fun, whether you're a parent or a grandparent or just a kid at heart.
Exactly.
You're going to have fun.
And we may have to send you an extra copy since you're both grandparents.
No. You have to sell books so you can keep doing what you're doing. So we'll send you something. I'll go to PayPal.
Oh, okay.
I can buy it on PayPal,
good.
I think.
And the people can actually write in here too, if the little ones want to make notes, or the adults do, and it's so interactive.
Oh yeah, you can color
and it's so fun, and I do love the science part of it. Very interesting.
Yeah, we also have all kinds of ideas that you can talk about while you're doing the exercises or when you're doing the activities. So
it's most excellent.
Wait, squirt painting. I want to try that.
Yeah, that's fun. That is absolutely fun.
I tell you to do snow paint, but you have an issue.
Oh yeah, I do have an issue. Although I grew up in New York and I did my share of squirt painting in New York.
You do have a section in there for non-melting snowmen, though.
Oh, right. Wow, you're really paying attention.
Yeah,
which is great.
Is that the marshmallow one?
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Snow people, they don't melt.
Oh, the rubber duck race. Look at that. That sounds fun, too.
The marshmallow snow people, too.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
But the rubber duck race, they are propelled by what do you call those things? Squirt guns, I guess, right? What do you call those bottles that squirt?
Squirt bottles.
Squirt bottles.
Yeah.
You propel your duck with a squirt bottle.
What is one of your most favorite things to do with your children?
Well, I love the apple prints.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's cool. The leaf rubbings, too.
Explain what that is. Explain
leaf rubbing, yep.
Explain what apple prints are.
Oh, I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Mark, have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for being on the air with us, giving us a fun segment. And for the listeners, the website again is CLCPlay2Learn.com. The book is called Play to Learn Seasons, a new book to help parents learn how to play with their kids. It is bilingual. Mark, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Keep up the great work.
All right, we'll be right back.
Happy.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Medical providers are special, and to look special, they go to Scrub Paradise in Ocala, located